Now the birth of Jesus the Messiah took place in this way. When his mother Mary had been engaged to Joseph, but before they lived together, she was found to be with child from the Holy Spirit. Her husband Joseph, being a righteous man and unwilling to expose her to public disgrace, planned to dismiss her quietly. But just when he had resolved to do this, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, "Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, for the child conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will bear a son, and you are to name him Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins." All this took place to fulfill what had been spoken by the Lord through the prophet. "Look, the virgin will conceive and bear a son, and they shall name him Emmanuel," which means God with us. When Joseph awoke from sleep, he did as the angel of the Lord commanded him. He took her as his wife, but he had no marital relations with her until she had borne a son, and he named him Jesus. Well, Merry Christmas, friends. My name's Tom. I'm the pastor at Sycamore Creek, and today we continue in this series about rediscovering the joy of Christmas. And what we're going to learn today is that there is a rhythm of life. It is seasons of sorrow punctuated by joy, and seasons of joy punctuated by sorrow. Let me give you an example of a season of sorrow for me punctuated by joy. You see, I have chronic foot pain. In fact, lately I've been referring to it as a disability. After having had 3 surgeries, multiple podiatrists, who knows how many hours of physical therapy, all kinds of treatments, my feet still hurt. I used to love to backpack. I backpacked all over the United States, and I just can't do that now. I literally cannot physically do it. But I still love to get out in the wilderness, and so I found that I can get out in the wilderness through canoeing. Get in a canoe down the river, jump out, set up camp, have a great time. There's this season of sorrow that I'm in with this chronic foot pain. And yet, there's a season of joy of getting on the river and going wherever it leads us. In fact, this joy has been so punctuated, the fact that I've learned that I love canoeing more than I like backpacking. The river actually does all of the work. Now, let me give you another example, an example of a season of joy that was punctuated by sorrow. The season of joy was when my wife graduated from Duke. She did really well at Duke. She's actually the smart one in our family. And when my family came into Durham to celebrate her graduation, we ended up getting distracted by one of my family members who is struggling with suicide. I guess I shouldn't say we got distracted. That's a tough thing to struggle with, right? And yet it was in the midst of this bigger season of joy, of Sarah graduating from this big program that she had spent years working on. You see, there is a rhythm of life, seasons of joy punctuated by sorrow, and seasons of sorrow punctuated by joy. So today we continue in the series Rediscovering the Joy of Christmas, and in week 1 we explored celebrating differently, finding joy in celebrating Christmas differently with our Christmas offering challenge to give away as much as you spend on yourself. In week 2, we looked at the prophets and how they foretold the destruction of Israel, this sorrow, but then the foretelling of the return of Israel, joy. Week 3, we looked at Mary and finding joy for the lowly and the underdogs, the ones on the fringes of society, on the fringes of power. Today, we're going to look at this rhythm of life with Joseph. But before we jump into it, I got a question for you. When was a time that you had a season of joy punctuated by sorrow, or a season of sorrow punctuated by joy? Put your answer in the chat or turn to your neighbor and talk about it.